by NAC. We call it revised accreditation format. Okay, I'll quickly run through all the slides. Now, let us first look at, I hope you can see my screen. Is it clear to?
Yes, your screen is
Okay.
visible. Yes.
Uh, Accreditation status as on date for Ayurveda colleges, I'm talking about colleges only, is like this, that only one of the institute has been graded in by NAC. There are two more. JS Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya Gujarat is already accredited, right, which is B plus, they got it. Then we have National Institute of Ayurveda Jodhpur, or Jaipur, sorry, right, which is in Rajasthan, and Anna Sahib Dange Ayurveda Medical College at Sangli, right? So these two are in the process, and soon they should also be getting their SSRs already have been submitted or evaluated or whatever it is. Then we have only one in the pipeline, which is Government Ayurvedic College Patna, which is there because they have submitted their initial institute quality assurance to NAC, and they should be submitting their thing. One particular area of concern is that we have so many institutes, and we have only four colleges of Ayurveda which are accredited by NAC so far. And let me share that NAC is now the Indian organization, is an old Indian organization, but is now conducting even for health science universities and health science colleges. And with effect from 2019, they have formulated rules and regulations, special ones, which are for health science institutions. But okay, this NAC Accreditation Council is an autonomous body under UGC, and today UGC is issuing out directives that all the institutes, whatever is the educational institution, must be accredited by NAC, which is a national accreditation body. And what happens with
Dr.
that
Bhai,
you
your
have
voice
got
is
which is
cracking.
there. Okay, now the focus of NAC, it says my internet is unstable. Is it okay now?
Now it is perfectly all right, sir.
Okay,
The
maybe
previous slide, actually, if you could go back to the previous slide.
this one.
Yeah, yeah, this one. So here, the last part of this slide was kind of missed.
Okay, the NAC assessing assesses the quality of education and also certifies the processes and procedures of the institute. So when you are getting accreditation, you have a stamp that you are imparting quality education, and it's up your processes which are set up for education and procedures, they are all of high quality. So this is where the whole ministry, the new NEP 2020 is also directing everybody towards accreditation, and especially for higher education. Now, NAC, when we say NAC has got a focus on a very primary thing, which is quality culture, which is quality initiative, quality sustenance, quality enhancement, quality assurance. And NAC maintains the conviction that quality concerns are institutional, which means that it is the institution which has to develop its quality culture and then bring it out. So it is based on a process called self-evaluation. In the self-evaluation, you are carrying out a study and raising a report, which is called self-study report. This self-study report, which is presented online to NAC on the portal, that is the one which is assessed for your performance. Now, who prepares the self-study report? It involves all stakeholders. All stakeholders the management, the faculty, the staff, both teaching, non-teaching, admin, support, students, parents, employers, community, and also the alumni. Because in case people are coming, they say, yes, I'm coming from an accredited college. In case you're talking, your parents are talking, yes, my son is studying or my daughter is studying in such and such place, which is an accredited college. So accreditation is everybody's expectation. Now, accreditation process till 2017 was more of paperwork. The multiple copies which were made, which were submitted to NAC, it went to in four or five copies. It went to Bangalore and to all the peer group, right? So a team was formulated. So the team would visit the campus and then look out for quality. But then they found out that most of the time the team, when they visit the campus, they are going through the SSR and carrying out a data check. So they said, why not digitize it? So then they had revised the assessment and accreditation process. Now this is called Revised Assessment and Accreditation Framework (RAF), which was launched in July 17, and for health science institutions, it was only in September 2019 that this thing started. Okay, the revision of accreditation process, that the whole data which is submitted, it goes to a third party. So neither the NAC nor HEI, the Higher Education Institute, they are involved, but it goes to a third party for an independent evaluation. So these are people who are experts, who are trained, and they carry out a data check. Then there is differences in metrics, weightage, criteria. We will see as we go along. And then there is a feedback system. Plus there is a student satisfaction survey, which carries about 50 marks for in out of total 900 in part A. Now, this particular format, what happens is from the team peer judgment, it goes to objective based and transparent, because mostly it depends upon your data. This is using ICT, confirming scalability, robustness, changes can be made very rapidly. It simplifies the process of resulting, reduction of time frame, right? Unfortunately, because of COVID in the past, there has been certain delays, but then that is eventually something which could not be ignored or worked over. Most of the thing, right? About 65% of the data is checked up by DVV, and we get a system generated score. The DVV has got nothing to do with the score. They cannot give any award, but it is only they just quantify the data, whatever is percentage, and then the system automatically generates it. With the result, your baseline keeps shifting up and down, right, depending upon what type of quality is coming on. And this is where one point which is very important from our everybody's point of view, that you must apply for accreditation early, because later on you always find the bar being raised, Okay, so it is one point which is to be taken home, that must apply for an early accreditation process and get on to it immediately after this. But 65% goes here, and one third, or 35%, it is still with the peer team. So peer team does visit, and this thing, but there is a precondition here. Precondition that your system generated score must be at least 25%. Okay. So in case you have got 900, I mean, out of 900, if you got 700 points, out of that, 25% should be earned. Then only you can have a peer team on the campus. Okay. Now, NAC accreditation, it depends upon 4, 5, 6 data collection and data collation. You have data which you have to collect it, and that data has to be collated at the institutional level, right? It can be available at the department level, it can be available in the school level or faculty level, but ultimately it will be going out as the institutional data. Okay. So collection and collation becomes a very, very difficult task in the institution. There are certain data revisions. The data is not complete. So there are certain check. Quality of the data is to be ascertained. So these are the things which really are impediments also, and there are challenges also everywhere. Then traceability of data. Who has the data? Where to get it from? Or else where can it be found now? People have certain privacy and security concerns, but then that is also one of the points that you don't want to share your data with anybody. There are constant changes in the NAC manual, which we have to keep adjusting to. And then after accreditation, comments come up, that what type of comments can be there after the audit. The this accreditation management system, this applies equally to universities, medical health science institutions, which are colleges and universities also. Okay, and all sort of institutions. Okay, this is just for information on my particulars. I'll skip on this. You can have for the colleges we have two single tier system, that you can have Department of Anatomy, Department of let's say naturopathy, yogic. So one of the departments, every department can have its own function, and then it goes out only at IQSC level. Okay, I'll skip this. This is one thing very important, that to look green, to have quality, every tree must be green. So therefore, every person, all the stakeholders must have the same quality setup. And when the peer team visits, it must be shown that yes, everybody thinks and understands quality and works on. Okay, um, I'll skip this data for the timing, for to save some time. What is the eligibility criteria for NAC accreditation? That you must have two batches of science students must have graduated, or you have 6 years in existence, whichever is earlier. So any institution which has got two batches, whether they are um, PG, postgraduate diploma, their graduation level, or postgraduate level, they could apply, right? Then eligibility of of health science colleges is that you must be offering program in, right? We have our thing here. Okay, these in these aspects of health science, 6 years already I have said, that duly recognized by the respective statutory council, and then affiliated to, and this you must be affiliated to a university. So you can't have independent, but you must be affiliated to university. There's one more condition which is there, that you must have an AISHE number. This is precondition when you apply for IIQA, that you have this code, right? This is requirement for registration. So health type of health sciences, as I mentioned earlier also, medical, dental, nursing, and then you have all Ayush colleges here, physiotherapy and applied sciences. Okay. Uh, Here, what is the process of, first of all, first step is the institutional quality assurance parameters, where you have the basic eligibility, which as I mentioned earlier, right? Do you have statutory regulatory authority compliance? Have you got a sort of letter from the concerning statutory regulatory body? Okay, are you affiliated to any university? Then supported by essential documents, there's a nominal 25,000 rupees fee to be paid, and these documents are sent to NAC. Once the documents are accepted, right, there are two possibilities: accept or not. In case one of these is missing, probably they will revert back to you and say you are given time. So when you accept, you get 45 days to raise the SSR. For the IIQA, you require basically, as I mentioned earlier, this is just a revision. AISHE number, you require university affiliation letter, approval of state government or of the, in case of university you require state government, but otherwise statutory regulatory authority. And then there's an undertaking that you are filling in the data that is by the principal, and self declaration which is here. Okay, so after this process is accepted, let me just go back here. After this process is accepted, I mean, I will not talk negative when you can get three more attempts, but in the first time we should be able to get an SSR application to be filled up within 45 days. So after acceptance of IIQA, you have to go and fill up the uh, SSR, the self-study report, within 45 days, and then come out with it. So what does SSR contain? SSR contains 7 key indicators. These are what is the teacher profile, what is their quality, what is the student satisfaction survey. We'll come to each of these one by one. What is the innovation ecosystem that the institute adopts? What is the clinical equipment or laboratory or learning resources which you have? Is there, are you engaging with alumni or with experts from outside? Institutional values, social responsibilities, and what makes your institute distinct. The 7 criteria which are there, 7 key areas, 7 criteria, they are mixed up. Now, one is curricular aspect, your basic curricular, which curriculum which is from the university specified, or in case you are autonomous, you have your own curriculum. How do you enrich it, even if it is specified by the university? Then what are your teaching and learning? What are your evaluation procedures? Are you follow? What is your teacher quality? Teachers quality. How many awards have been given? How many awards have they won? Right? And what is your admission level? That is also equally important. Then what are the research, innovations, and extension activities you carry out? Research, innovations are one part, and extension activities is to go into the society, what help the society external to the institution. What is the infrastructure, and what is the learning resources which you maintain so that students can get quality education. Then student support in terms of their scholarships, in terms of placement, in terms of progression into higher education, in terms of helping them uh, pass higher level examinations. There are certain competitive examinations which are common these days. Are you helping them to pass those? And then what kind of alumni are you have you do you have? So these are basic things. Then governance, leadership, and management, which means that does the management participate in any kind of administrative activities? Do they support the faculty? Is the faculty being trained specially? Are faculty members encouraged to join CMEs, right? So this kind of thing is there in the criteria 6. Then institutional values, which is more from environment friendly point of view, from Divyangjan, the disabled or the medically challenged students or faculty or others, and what are the best practices that are on the campus, which you have to specify. So, for medical institutions, apart from these 7, there is one more criteria, which is specialty specific. Example, Ayurvedic. Okay, so this is what is especially for medical. These 7 are almost common for all, barring that within the matrix they have some changes there. Okay, now I've been talking about matrix. What is a metric? Metric is anything that you take measurement with. Okay. Now you have two type of metrics here. One are qualitative metrics, other are quantitative metrics. The quantitative metrics, they really look at the data. numerical values, or yes, no availability. Whereas qualitative metrics, they are more of descriptive and normally up to about 500 words. The PA team, when they come, they look at the qualitative data. The DVV, when they look at quantitatively data. So these two are separated out, which and these quantitative metrics are the ones which are up to about 65 to 70% weightage, whereas qualitative are about 30 to 35% weightage. We will see the breakdown. And this qualitative metrics, they cover last 5 years data.
Hello, Dr. Manjit Singh ji. I think he got disconnected. Let's wait for a minute.
Am
Yeah,
I
he's back.
back?
Yes, you are back. Please go ahead,
Uh,
sir.
okay. Now this is qualitative and quantitative metrics. I hope screen was uh, visible that particular time. Okay. Now,
Screen was visible, sir. Now your voice is once again not reaching us.
should I? Am I audible?
So
No.
now you're audible and your screen is also visible.
Okay.
So after you came back from the temporary black out, now you're back.
Yeah. So okay. Um, this is what I was specifying, right? Um, the main features for health science institutions. Okay, and this the ratio to quantitative and qualitative is about 63% quantitative and 37% qualitative. It varies from various institution type of institutions. In the health science part, as I mentioned earlier, those 7 criteria, they are called part A, which have 900 points in total, which they cover in criteria 1 to 7. And the part B, which covers 100 points, right, is the eighth component, and we will discuss in detail both these components now. Okay, so these are discipline specific 100, and otherwise in general education specific 900. They make a total of 1000. Okay, the quantitative metrics, they cover last 5 years data, or they cover average value of data, or there are multiple choice questions. Do you have this 5 4? What is the quantity? How many parameters you have? How many awards have you with won? Okay, then some of there are current year data. How many students have taken practical training, this particular, I mean, project training, or how many students were out on clinical sort of projects, right, in the community projects. So that kind of thing. Current year data ratio, and then yes no questions, whether you have a particular parameter or not. Okay. Uh, the process, complete process, just to revise you, just to revise the IIQA, right? IIQA gives you SSR. Once it is accepted, you have got 45 days. After the 45 days, you have got, this goes to the, once you submit your SSR, it goes to the DVV for data checking, which normally takes about 30 days, right? And then there you assess whether you have got pre-qualifier, which is there based on these quantitative parameters. If you get 25% marks, then you move on to a peer team visit, which has got up to about 33% of grading points, and then you are graded. But simultaneously to this, as the moment you have SSR is raised, there is another step which is being taken. is called Student Satisfaction Survey, which means that what will happen is that in the along with the SSR, you will be raising a particular data sheet where all the particulars of the students will be given, the current students that is given, and at random, certain percentage of those students are sent a questionnaire. The questionnaire is basically about the type of activities, the type of training, that quality of education which is taking place in the college. So so whether they are satisfied or not. So this comprises normally of about 21 objective type questions and one subjective type. They have to give a small write up sort of thing. Whether no, this is also these marks are also added here, and then you are graded. So with okay, if we look at the number of qualitative and quantitative questions metrics, right? Curricular aspect, you have about 8 metrics, right? Which which have got weightage of about 65%. Okay, quantitative, even though 8 metrics have got 65% in the curricular. In the teaching learning, it is more stress here. So teaching learning, you have got total 250, 280 points. So it is for all educational institutions, it is this aspect which takes a lot of weightage, and then your teaching, learning, and evaluation processes, they get you good grade. Otherwise, all the other parameters are almost close to 100, 100. Student support and student progression, whether how much placement is possible, whether you are giving them self-employment is training is also imparted, and that kind of thing. Research and innovation or extension activities have a weight, slightly higher weight, but they are more for universities. So this is what parameters are. But otherwise, you see that out of total 109 parameters total, right? This is combined. You have got 41 qualitative and 68 quantitative. So this is what determines the weightage ratio. You get weightage of 65% to 33%. Okay. So this is same thing again, and infrastructure wise also we can have a total up. Now in part B for Ayurveda, we'll only consider on Ayurveda. There are 16 metrics carrying 100 marks, out of which 5 are numerical, which carry 30 points, and 11 are qualitative. We will come down to see what are these qualitative metrics. I'll have to quickly move through part B now. Uh, Ultimately, you get a grade whichever you are working on. Then this is part 2, which concerns primarily for Ayurveda colleges, right? So I have come specifically now to the part where part B is there, and we are going to talk about Ayurveda colleges, how the Ayurveda college particularly, what are the things required. As I mentioned earlier, we have got 5 quantitative metrics which carry 30 points, and 11 qualitative metrics which carry 70 points. Now, qualitative are up to about 500 words each, whereas quantitative is just you have to give your values. Now, what are the quantitatives and what are the qualitatives? Okay, which we have already seen. So I'm skipping on this. Then we have got, this is the first qualitative metrics, which is in 500 words. Integration of different systems of health. Sorry, integration of different systems of healthcare, I'm. Is this also visible to you, Ajay? Ajay, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you
Yeah.
are audible, sir.
Okay. Uh, First one, which is the qualitative, is integration of different systems of healthcare in teaching in hospitals. Right now, this is the teaching hospital, mind you. Which hospital, teaching hospital your students go to. Okay, so this is a description of which, that what is the institutional policy of integration of healthcare. Are you taking into consideration the normal system of Ayush, and also systems other than Ayush? Are you looking at them also, not ignoring them? So this is the first one. The next one is institutional mechanism towards classical working of Ayurveda learning. Classical, which means that certain words, because Ayurveda has strong Sanskrit words, so a little bit of Sanskrit, which are Samilita, whatever Patan. I think you people are more on this rather than me. I, I've got a blockage here by screen. I don't know. Should go away.
Uh, you may want to reshare your screen if you want. Yeah, try doing that, please.
Is
Screen is not coming up yet.
not visible now, but I'm going to come back. Just 1 second. Uh, I think I've gone far away. Am I thrown out?
No, your screen is not visible. Your voice is reaching me.
Because I don't know. Suddenly I've been thrown out here.
Uh, yeah. So, are you able to see the screen sharing button?
No. Should I join back?
No, there is no need actually.
Just 1 second. Yeah. Share screen. Okay.
Mhm.
I've come back.
Yeah. Dr. Sachin has a question. Dr. Manjit Singh ji, would you like to
Okay.
address it first?
Okay. No problem. No issues.
Just a second. Dr. Sachin Gandhi, can you please unmute yourself? Please go ahead asking your question. Dr. Sachin, you have raised a hand. Are you going to ask a question right away? I think he got disconnected now. Please go ahead, Dr. Manjit Singh ji.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So we have uh, what is the different type of systems which are integrated in the teaching hospital, right? So whichever teaching hospital that you are the college is associated with, what are the systems? Then institutional mechanism towards classical working of Ayurveda learning. This is what we are discussing, that we have Sanskrit learning, Samhita learning, then Nenghantu, uh, Rasasha, Grantha, whatever part is on, right? Then teaching schedule includes those hours of teaching. Mind you, these are qualitative metrics. Qualitative means that you give about 500 words, But when the peer team comes for a visit, they normally would like to check against whatever you have written. So it is something which has to be compatible with whatever is there. Whatever is written must be compatible with whatever is existing in the institution. And the intention of this particular representation is that yes, you should be able to, you know it, and you can get prepared for that kind of thing. Even the basic idea of this accreditation is not that why you have not done it. It is not penalizing anybody, but probably we were not aware of many things which were happening, which could have happened. But then this is to make you aware of that, and yes, and also commit that yes, now onwards we are committed. We now also onwards we will, comply with this kind of instructions. So these things are there, that even if you set up here today, right, you can have an upper edge, that okay, you have got things, some kind of points which you can earn in the qualitative. But what happens if you have got nothing? Then it becomes very, it leaves an impression of in the peer team. This is again, as I mentioned, qualitative is being checked up by the peer team during their visit. Then you have got promotion of this is 10 points. Other points are all 5, but just remember that this has got 10 points in qualitative, which is on panch karma and implementation of lifestyle modification, right? So this is primarily for panch karma, protocols incorporating principles of Ayurveda, number of activities to promote seasonal panch karma, right? Then protocols for lifestyle modifications. What are these parameters? Okay, I'm not talking about Kumar Panchakarma here. I have not spoken, because these the seasonal Panchakarma, they take about 10 points, whereas Kumar Panchakarma, that has got additional 5 points. So between these two metrics, you see that by setting up this panchkarma, whether it is Komar or seasonal, right? You have got 15 points out of 100. So this is where certain parameters are there. Then SOPs of development, of implementation, monitoring, revision of SOPs. These SOPs don't come in a day. So you have to prepare your SOPs and get them ready now itself, and then implement them. Because develop, you can write an SOP, but if you have not implemented it, there's useless. And then after implementation, you monitor it, and through a feedback, you revise it. So this is an important part of this aspect. Okay. Then activities towards improving clinical documentation. You might do very good things, but your documentation is not good. So that kind of thing, documentation has to be maintained. Then details of new initiations in administrating, administering Komar Panch karma, right? Certain mock drills to manage complications. You should be aware of those. Okay, but are these mock drills specified? Okay. Then you another qualitative, we're still on qualitative, is Swasthavrita, right? With all those things which you are very familiar with, and then how these things are activities are undertaken, and what are the how do you promote these such activities, and who are the people who have undergone such activity, and what is their outcome in last 5 years. So this kind of write-up is required. Then another one which has got 5 points, that does the institute take adequate measures for prevent preservation and propagation of rare and endangered medicinal plants, traditional medical medicine plants. So So these two things have to be taken care of. Medicinal plants, first of all, you must have it, because that comes in quantified thing. You will see it later. And then, but here it is that adequate measures for preserving the and propagation of endangered medicinal plants. Okay, so this is something which can be done, but then this is qualitative again, where certain photographs, herbal garden, they are incidentally these two parts, the geotagged photographs of the garden and expenditure, they form part in quantitative parameters which are there. Then accreditation of Ayurveda education by, sorry, describe the availability of licensed and certified teaching pharmacy, okay, for medicinal manufacturing, mind you. Okay, then what is your blueprint? What are the dosages and work on? This is also qualitative. Another qualitative is Kriya Kalpa. Okay. So, what are the activities which are undertaken by the institution for towards practice of various procedures of Kriya Kalpa? What are the clinical documentations? What are the availability of emergency kits? How mock drills are carried out? So these procedures are there. Again, implementation and monitoring and revision of this thing. Then we come to Anushastra. Okay, so it's almost same things for Anushastra karma are also specified. Then we have Prasuti and Stri Rog, right? A special qualitative for that. That how are we taking the skills and therapies in practice and administrating all these things. Okay, so this whatever sanskara and other um, Uttarvasti and are required. So this is, do you have procedures for those? Okay, again and again we are talking about SOP development, implementation and monitoring, and then ultimately revision of these SOPs for all these things. For each type of treatment you require these procedures. Then another qualitative is Patyakalpana. Okay, so this is something which you are more familiar with. Facilities for instant preparation like sarsa, kalka, and hygiene raw materials. Then there are co-vigilance activities, right, related to Ayurveda activity, this thing. So these are also important. Then what is your mechanism of collection, analysis, and reporting of these ADRs, or how are you reporting it, and any certificate you have received from the national body. So this was so far qualitative. Now we come to quantitative. There are only 5 points. We're giving you 30 marks. Okay. Now, has the institution taken adequate measures to develop the main herbal garden? The herbal garden will not come in a day. Okay, but then has been, or else what could be done is tied up with certain herbal sort of garden which is there, right? So in the area you can tie up with that, and that is one possibility which can be done. Then even this is a quantitative, so you will be required to give the list of medicinal plant species in the herbal garden. What is the area in acres, and then certain photographs of this garden. So these are the three parameters, especially for Ayurvedic medicine. This herbal garden has got very high importance. In the qualitative also it was there, whether you are preserving the those national and traditional medicinal plants, and here it is that how you are procuring, what is the area totally, and how you are working on it. Then you have, how much expenditure are you putting onto this? So it will be the total amount which is in 5 years divided by 5. So average is worked out, and it means expenditure on new plants, on maintenance, purchase of raw material, of any other things, whatever you are doing. So that kind of particular area, um, the cost in that area are very important. Okay, so then geotagged photographs of the plantation area are again compared with the previous one. Then we have efforts of institution to involve students in yogic practices and promotion of such practices. Availability of a yoga demonstrator, yoga common hall sort of thing, to, to a therapeutic yoga, or you can this thing, or have you got some advanced yoga practices, Jalneti or Sutra Deti or whatever workout there. This is just, that in case you have it, you put photographs and then put on. Okay, efforts of the institution involved to involve students in yogic practices. It continues with that, right? That how many students are participating. Here it was, the marks are five only for those two, this thing, to both the slides. But question is that these are what are the facilities, and here it is that are you really participating or utilizing those facilities and putting it. So yearly data of attendance of common public patients, common yoga and therapeutic yoga, right? Advanced yoga practices. So this is data which has to be maintained, and this goes the efforts of the institution towards conservation and validation of local health traditions. So this forms very important part because this has got 10 points. All other quantitative parameters and majority of the qualitative have got 5 points. Only two of them, one earlier in qualitative and one here, they have got 10 points. Effort of institutional towards conservation and validation of local health traditions. So whichever area you are, what are the local traditional medicines which are taking place, and how are you making activities or interactive programs with the locals. Okay, how many number of programs participants, how the students go out for clinical exercises. Then is the teaching hospital, which wherever the students are going for learning, whether it is your own or otherwise, and the laboratory where the testing is done, right? Are they accredited by, um, let's say, NABH or NABH or NABL, or otherwise do you have a ISO certificate or some other certificate? So those 5 points have been given to this particular thing. Along with this, of course, there are certain your own internal practices. This is part B. I am sorry I did rush through in part A, but then I thought part B was more important from the Ayurveda point of view and our learning of Ayurveda, and this is what it was. So now, any questions? I'll be honored to answer.
Sir, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah.
There has been a question from Dr. Ratna Garge. The
Okay.
question is there any training program for teachers proposed as a part of this framework?
Teaching program proposed for.
Uh, for the teachers training
Yeah.
as a part of this framework, does the framework recommend certain training programs to be taken by the teachers?
Oh yes, it does, because in criteria two, how many teachers have advanced this thing, post graduation and higher education? It is a part of A. It is included in part A, right? Where once we I'm not discussed detailed metrics in part A, where how many teachers have been going for, let's say, even CME has a institute conducted certain CMEs in their own place, has the governance. In the governance, has the institute given certain financial help to go and join or some training, and then have the students or the faculty have they participated in certain conferences or training workshops, especially orientation programs where specialization takes place. But that is there's a limit that it must be up to 5 days, right? It is not one day type of parameters. There are separate marks for one day, there are separate marks for 5 days, but one day programs can be many, but 5 days program are given special weightage there. And special training for certain uh, especially medicinal, from medicinal point of view, certain parameters. But as far as criteria 8 is concerned, whereas in nursing and dental, I have seen lot many of these special training being given award. But here probably the herbal garden, that takes away 4 or 5 metrics, as you have seen. So it is not included in part B, but part A, it is embedded into it. I hope that answers the question.
I think so. Actually, this question was asked on YouTube, so it's not possible for us to immediately
Oh yeah.
connect with Dr. Gadgil. She may react to this answer after some time. We can follow up on that. Yes, she recognized, and she mentions that this is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any other questions for Dr. Manjit Singh ji? I think there are no more questions. I would like to invite Dr. Dattatreya Lode, who is Board of Studies member, executive member of ATA, that is Ayurved Teachers Association. I would like to invite him to express the
I'm
uh,
closing the presentation.
words of, yes, sir, words of thanks. Dr. Dattatreya,
Am I audible, sir?
you are audible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. In this COVID-19 scenario, when there is lots of fear, stigmas and discrimination and some lots of lockdowns, we were quite long from this educational programs, and especially NAC accreditation. I am very much thankful to Sir Dr. Manjit Singh, the renowned educationist, to provide their invaluable time for us. And I think that we need some training programs for teachers and some training programs for assessors also, so that there could be a uniformity in assessment also. And I am thankful to Sir Sanjay Jejurikar sir, Mr. Ajay Bhagwat sir, Director of Imports India, and Dr. Sanjay Jejurikar sir, that is co-founder of Imports USA. So this was a quite very nice organizing webinar for all our teachers. I am very thankful to organizer in collaboration with Ayurved Teachers Association, and thankful to all attendees who have given their valuable time to attend this webinar. I hope on remaining sessions they will also participate and share some their views also. So I am thankful to everyone who is attending this webinar. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Dr. Lode. If are there any questions? I think there is one question I would like to quickly address, although the session is now kind of declared to be over.
That's perfectly fine. If we can have the question.
So the question is by Dr. Kiran Mantri: soft copy or hard copy of the documents required?
Yeah, this could be made available. Soft copy can be, soft copy we can provide.
Actually, I think he is asking the question about the documents that we are generating for the purpose of accreditation.
Yeah,
I think this question is related to that. So either the soft copy or hard copy
it could be
are
it could be made available. I have given the particulars. They have your particulars. They could approach you, and we could provide the soft copy.
no, actually, this was related to the NAC accreditation related documentation. So, Dr. Kiran Mantri, the documents have to be, soft one because you are supposed to upload those to the
Yeah,
NAC portal. So, the documents have to be in the soft
in the soft
format
form.
only.
They have to be in
Yeah,
soft form.
sounds good. So, thank you so much. With this, we conclude our session of the day. Tomorrow's session will be conducted by me at 2:30, and the logistics also will be the same. We will send you the YouTube link 30 minutes before the scheduled start time, and immediately after this session, we will share a link of feedback, and those who have participated in today's session will be requested to attend those the questions asked in the feedback form, and it would be tracked by us all the three for all the three sessions. Every day after the session you will receive a link, and you would be requested to respond to those questions within the next 24 hours. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care, have a
And Ajay, even if
great
there are
day.
questions at a later stage, they could mail you or this thing. We could provide the answer.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.